What is up, peeps? FTWTV HD here. I'd like to welcome you back to another YouTube video, and today we are going over some interesting concept cards that I've made that I feel would actually change the game and how it is played. So I was just sitting here bored thinking of what kind of video to make. I want to make some different types of videos around the Pokemon trading card game and just not upload, deck showcases and gameplay all the time. I want to do some creative things as well. So I think one of these things would be to create concept cards and put a lot of thought into them as well. I didn't just make a card willy-nilly and go, oh, that's cool, something little. I want to make some cards that would impact the game heavily, in my opinion, but also be balanced in its own merit. So let's actually go straight into it. We'll start off with a tool card, which is Dragon Fang. You'll see it here on the screen now. And this did take me a lot of time to make, actually, but I do need to give credit, actually. I don't know how to pronounce their name, to be honest, but I used all these templates from, I think it's Ashfield, something like that, Ashfield 101. Again, I'll leave the link in the description below for all these templates so you can go and check it yourself. But I did the templates, I downloaded the templates, but the text and other stuff as well. I had to kind of do the images, as it were. But yeah, Dragon Fang. Let's just read out what the actual card does. So if this card is attached to a dragon Pokemon, your opponent's Pokemon is now weak to dragon type Pokemon. If you deal any damage to your opponent's Pokemon, deal 50 damage to the Pokemon this card is attached to. So let me describe the concept of this. So one thing I don't really like too much in a trading card game is that dragon type Pokemon do not hit any Pokemon for weakness, nor do colorless, of course, but dragon type specifically doesn't hit anyone for weakness and is hit by weakness for fairy, obviously Gardevoir. It's not great. So that's one thing I feel like holds dragon type Pokemon back a lot. So I think this card is going to give it an insane boost. Initially I was going to do 20 damage, then I changed it to 30. Then I spoke to Maro, who said, it may be a good idea to switch it to 50 because it's such an insane concept to make every Pokemon you hit weak to dragon. So you're hitting every single Pokemon for weakness. You'll be getting knockouts left, right, and center. So I feel like dealing 50 damage is a fair amount. It's a risky play. If if there's a Pokemon you need to knock out, and let's say you're using a card like the up and coming Ultra Necrozma or something like that, and you need to get a huge knockout, Dragon Fang is going to make that happen. However, you're going to be dealing 50 damage to yourself, making yourself more easy to get knocked out next turn. So that's the idea behind that one there. I feel like it's a powerful card, a very strong card, but is at the same time balanced. So yeah, let me know your thoughts of this card down below. Is it too powerful? Is the downside to it too strong? Let me know your thoughts. I just personally think hitting anything for weakness with this tool card attached is just going to be ridiculously overpowered. So the 50 damage is there to, again, help it maintain its balance. It's a card I think would change the game. It's a card that I think would be put into dragon type decks for that one-off moment. Field blowers would definitely be more of a necessity for this flying around. So I feel like it's a great card with a downside to keep it balanced. So let's go into the next one. This is a supporter card. It is Garcia, which is a psychic type trainer. I'm not sure if it's a gym leader or Elite Four. I'm not too sure. I did my research, but I've forgotten now. So this card, let's just go through what it says. Of course, attach 2 basic psychic energy from your hand to your active Pokemon. If you do, your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. So let's go into the thoughts behind creating this effect. The 2 basic energy cards for Psychics particularly is due to the fact that Psychic really doesn't have any crazy form of acceleration. We do have Malamar coming out, but that's attached from the discard pile. So you do need to get Psychic in the discard pile to use it. And that's only attaching to bench. So I thought it'd be great to add a supporter card that attaches to active, and this card I think would change the game because it would fit incredibly well with Ultra Necrozma GX, which does, I think it's 80 damage for every psychic energy attached, and you discard the psychic. So this would make an immediate 160 damage attack. So, well, actually no, it's 20 plus 80 should I say. So you'll be hitting 180 guaranteed if you have this card. Only on the condition that you do have the basic psychic energy in your hand. That again came from Mara. I ran it through him and he's like, I think deck is a bit too powerful. And I also think deck, come to think of it, doing it from your deck is a bit too powerful. So we did notch it down a bit to being from your hand, but we also added the effect of the active becoming asleep if you do so. So there's a coin flip as to whether or not they stay asleep. Again, giving you another advantage there. Another thought behind applying the asleep concept of this card is Garcia is a fan of Mushana. Which is, I believe it's a psychic Pokemon that, uses hypnosis and stuff. So I thought being asleep would be a great concept behind Garcia. So that's the card there. Let me know your thoughts on that. Is it, again, too powerful? Is it too weak? I think this would change the game because it's going to be crazy for psychic Pokemon, countering Buzzwole. And as I said, Ultra Necrozma GX, which I will make my own video on, would just be insane with this card and will change the game in that merit. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts as well. Do you like the art? The art took me a bit of time to try and make. I actually did a little recording of making this card in particular, which I'll show. I went through a few designs, a few concepts to think, okay, what would work best, and just ended up on this one. But yeah, I'll talk more about the art and what I did, at the end. So the next card is an item card, not a tool, just an item. It is a gem card. Now, this one I'll be using Fighting Gem, for example, but the idea behind this is that any type Pokemon will have a gem. So there'll be Fighting Gem, Water Gem, Dragon Gem, colorless gem, that wouldn't make sense. I don't think there'll be a colorless gem, but point being, there'll be for every type except colorless a gem card. Now, what this does is it boosts 20 damage of the Pokemon that is typed accordingly to the gem. So Fighting Gem would be Fighting Pokemon. So I'll read it here. Your Fighting Pokemon do 20 more damage this turn. You cannot use Fighting Gem more than once per turn. That stops stacking, of course. You can't imagine playing 4 Fighting Gems. You'll be hitting 80 damage extra during that turn, and it's an item card, so it'll be ridiculously overpowered, so you can't stack that. I think that's pretty decent. It's a Kukui, but without drawing cards, and I think that's something that's great. Kukui is only seen in certain decks, and I feel like a supporter drawing 2 cards and doing 20 damage is just not enough. So I feel like having an item that adds a bit of damage for that turn only is pretty darn good. And as I said, will change the game. It will become at least a tech in a deck, or a must-have, especially with rotation coming. For fighting Pokemon, Strong Energy will be going out if it's not reprinted, which I highly doubt it will be, because no other special energies for specific types have been reprinted yet. So this would be a good replacement for Strong Energy, particularly for that turn. So it'd be great for fighting decks. And again, it adds a bit of extra damage for each type, which will help out in the long run. I don't know if I should actually put this here. I really should have put in brackets, and I will change that now actually, that this is going to be before applying weakness and resistance. So of course, when you're hitting for weakness, that'd be fantastic when you're adding up the numbers. So that will actually be before applying weakness and resistance, not after. So again, I feel like that's great for every single type. It's a good item card. And also another good thing about this, considering I put in you can't use said gem more than once per turn, it does not say that you can't use more than one with a different name per turn, because of course it is an item card. So if you have your Volcanion EX, you could play a fire gem and a water gem, and you could be doing an extra 40 damage, which would be great, because 30 for its original attack plus 40, you'd be knocking out a Tapu Lele. So I feel like that card would add another dynamic in certain decks. So that's the concept behind that one. Again, let me know your thoughts. Should it be a supporter? Is it too overpowered? I'm not too sure. Again, these are cards I thought would just change the game, but would be balanced in its own merit. So next one is a stadium card. This one I feel like is pretty neat. I'm quite happy with the thought of this card. Did a bit of research. I don't play the Pokemon games myself, but I did a bit of research and came up with this card. So it is Ruins of Life. It's a stadium card, and all Tapu Pokemon in play have an extra 20 HP and deal 20 more damage. So the thought behind this card is, of course, Tapu Lele. Ruins of Life is where you would find Tapu Lele in video games. That's something I've just discovered, having not played a Pokemon Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I thought this would be great because a lot of cards that are determined to be good nowadays are cards that can one-shot a Tapu Lele or one-shot a Zoroark or something. Because Tapu Lele's in almost every deck. I feel like this adds a bit of buffness to your Tapu Lele's, and adds a bit of damage. The Energy Drive could use an extra 20 more damage in a game. Also on top of that, if you think about Tapu Koko having 190 HP rather than 170 would be great. And also with Tapu Koko hitting 130 on attack, hitting 150 plus first choice, you'll be hitting 180 instead of hitting 160 with a choice band on Tapu Koko. So again, it's hitting that critical number that will knock out a lot of basic GX Pokemon in one shot. So I feel like it adds a lot of help there. Tapu Bulu would just be insane with Tapu Vikavolt having a 200 HP stat, plus, you know, Aether Paradise should be hitting 230. You could even go on and throw yourself a Fighting Fury belt. You'll be hitting crazy numbers, but of course that's a card combo. That's something that could work, but is only specific. You know, the more cards you need to throw in a combo, the rarer you are to hit that combo to get that crazy stat. But again, I feel like it would just help a lot with Tapu Pokemon being played. So yeah, I thought that'd just be fun. Mainly it's there, of course, to make sure that Tapu Leles are a bit harder to knock out, which I think will change the game a little bit, because, you know, cards that, you know, would initially one-hit a Tapu Lele think your Lucario with a strong energy and choice band upon evolving would one-shot a Lele. It wouldn't anymore if that was in play. So I feel like that would change the meta a bit. Now, let's get into the last card. This card is a Prism Star supporter card. Now, this is Grimsley Prism Star. Grimsley being an Elite Four member that prioritizes Dark-type Pokemon. The effect of this is you can only play this card if your active Pokemon is Dark-type, which of course is similar to Cyrus. Your opponents cannot play any cards from their hand during their next turn. I feel like this is a really cool card, and I feel like this would be implemented into any Zoroark deck out there. You could put Zoroark in active, and from that get-go, you can go and hit a 120, play your Grimsley. They can't play any cards at all. All they can do is attack. So if you don't get knocked out, you're going to hit another 120, 240. Your Zoroark can start really doing some extra damage, and it will buff your Zoroarks. So now, the reason why I made this a Prism Star is Zoroark is powerful enough, and preventing your opponents from playing any cards is absolutely ridiculous. It's basically allowing yourself to have another turn, and the only way, you know, the only cards you see that on are cards that have heavy energy. Think of Dialga GX, or cards that were incredibly important and incredibly impactful in the meta. Think Quaking Punch of your Seismitoad EX, which did double colorless, 30 damage, and they can't play any item cards. So imagine blocking item cards, but no, you are blocking every single card, supporter cards as well, stadium cards. They cannot play any cards. It's very similar to Alolan Golem's GX attack. So it's that in the form of supporter. And because it's so powerful, of course, it has to be a Prism Star. You can only have one, and it goes to the Lost Zone, and there's no recovery. So that's why it's a Prism Star, insanely powerful, but a Prism Star is, again, a way of balancing it. So those are the 5 cards. Let me know your favorite one down below. Let me know the one you feel like is most realistic, the ones that are least realistic, the ones that you think would be great to put into the games, the ones that you think would just ruin the game. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. But yeah, let's actually move on now. If that's it, if for the competitive side of it, you know, you can leave the video now. I'm going to talk more into the arts now. And the reason why I chose certain designs over others, yada yada, so I'll just go into that now. Dragon Fang, when thinking about this card, I was thinking, okay, I need something that will buff something, but also have a downside. I was thinking, okay, what Pokemon out there need a buff, need a nice buff? And I thought Dragon definitely needs a buff. I know they're getting some good card recently, but I feel like they still need a buff. They're not there yet, especially that a lot of Dragon Pokemon use some awkward energy attachments to make, you know, to make them usable. So I thought a good tool card would be nice, and that's where I came across Dragon Fang. Now, actually making the design was quite tough. When you get the template, you just simply get the border and, you know, the blue, the text, and just some other stuff. But what you don't get, of course, is the name is blank, because that's for you to fill out. Also, the image is completely blank as well. So I had to find a gold sun ray type background, and it was really hard to find one that was similar to an actual secret rare card. This is, of course, very different. I had to kind of make this myself. But yeah, it was very hard to find one that was very similar to that. I managed to find one that was only halfway, so I just duplicated it, switched it up, and managed to get a sort of sunray gold effect on there. And then I had to manually, you know, find some, you know, star twinkles. I forgot they're called. Sparkles. There we go. Found some sparkle effects, and, you know, make loads of them, minimize them, and it was a lot of work, but I feel like it made it look a bit more realistic. The actual gold outline, it does look quite amateur. I know that. but this was made in, you know, with a certain time constraint. It is getting quite late today, so I just wanted to get it done by today. So it's not going to be perfect, but I feel like, you know, it still resembles a secret rare. Right, so let's go on to Garcia and the thoughts behind that. The first picture you'd probably search online for Garcia will be the one you're seeing now of Garcia. I feel like that's the best one I could find. I did have a deep look, and I felt like this one would be great for a full art. Unfortunately, the quality of that image was not great. I can't increase the quality, so it does look a bit blurry. A lot of time went into figuring out where to place Garcia on the card. My first thought, and your probably first thought when you saw this, was, well, put Garcia in the middle, right? Central area, focal point, you know, it makes the card look nice. But then I realized that her headband really got in the way of the name. You couldn't actually read the card. You'd be like, it's just G-A-I-A. Like you couldn't see the R or C because the black, I'm not even gonna try and figure out his name, whatever it is. It sticks out too far, and I thought, okay, if I reduce the size, then Garcia looks too small. I tried putting what's the pre-evolved form of Musharna. I've got to find it out here. Muna. There we go. Yeah, I had a Muna in there. Again, didn't work great. I know this final design isn't fantastic, but I thought it'd be nice to have a card that looks slightly different to what you usually see. All of your full art trainer cards are, you know, centralized, bold, and I thought it'd be nice to have a different type of card with a different style. So of course I did that. The background of the sparkles and stuff as well. Yeah, the reason I put that in there, I thought it looked a bit cosmic, which is what, you know, Musharna and Muna kind of represent. And of course, it has a similar color scheme of blue, pink, purple. And I thought it just looked quite nice. And on a holo, that would look fantastic. The fighting gem, I just thought, you know, let's just get any sort of gem and figure it out. But it's really hard to find one that looked like it would fit into the Pokemon world. So, you know, I found like clip arts and stuff with diamonds or whatever, because I realized the gems in the Pokemon game look like diamonds. So I thought I was finding diamonds, and I thought, okay, I can try and change the color of it a little bit, you know, make it look like its type. I specifically wanted to do a fighting one, so I was looking for a brown diamond or something like that. The reason I wanted to do fighting is, of course, you know, fighting is quite huge, and with, you know, strong energy going out. That was the kind of thought, the concept behind this card anyway, with strong energy going away, adding a bit of damage to fighting Pokemon. So I thought, okay, might as well do fighting gem. So on that instance, I managed to just find a gem from a scene actually in the Pokemon anime, I believe, and managed to get that, crop it. The actual gem in the scene is a clear, transparent gem, so I had to try and change its hue, its contrast and stuff to try and make it look as brownish as possible. It was very hard to do because a transparent bluish gem is going to be very hard to turn to brown. Now, the reason why the actual background is the original color is I actually cut out the diamond and, you know, pasted it back into its own layer and then tried to change its hue and mess around with it. And that's the best color I managed to get off it. So that's why it looks more reddish, a bit brown. You know, it's not brown as it would be if it was for like fighting type. So that's why it's not too perfect, but it did take a bit of work. Grimsley, I was actually trying to find, you know, an image of Grimsy, you know, quite detailed anime style, aggressive Grimsy, because I know Grimsy's a bit of a, well, he's dark, obviously, he's a bit evil, you know. But I ended up just kind of sticking to the one from the Pokemon Sun and Moon game. I think this is the stage, I don't know what it's called, but I know it's the stage where you start fighting old school Pokemon trainers like Giovanni, yada yada. You fight Blue from the original Pokemon games. But I found this one, I was like, okay, that looks, you know, it's representing what I think Grimsy would represent more than anything. He's pissed off, he's aggressive, he's angry. And I couldn't really find one that worked very well other than this one. So I thought, okay, just throw it in there. You know, that'd be that. The actual Prism Star sign on the name, I had to find myself. It wasn't too hard, just a quick Google search and that was there, which is great and easy. So I didn't have to try and make it myself, which is, you know, which saves a lot of time, I'm going to be honest. But looking at now the Ruins of Life, you could probably tell the image is a bit blurred because the image itself is actually quite small. But every time I search Ruins of Life or any sort of ruins or anything like that online, that's related to Pokemon, it always was an image of a screenshot in the Pokemon game, and I didn't really want that. I know I just said I used Grimsy from the Pokemon game before, But when it comes to a stadium card, you want more of an area. You know, you want to see a location, which is what stadiums are. You know, Sea of Nothingness, you know, Ace of Paradise conversation. I keep saying conversation. Conservation area. You know, it's all an area. It's all somewhere. So I thought Ruins of Life. I need some sort of aerial view, and I found one online that was quite short, but you know, I thought that was perfect. And it is actually the Ruins of Life as well, with it being the Tapu Lele ruins. You can see by the pink accents on the door. So I thought that was a great picture there to actually use, and it actually looks quite nice. It looks like it would be a genuine stadium card, if I'm correct. So I'm actually quite happy with that one there. Anyway, that was that. Thank you if you did watch this extra part of the video. I really do appreciate that, of course, if you listening to me ramble about the ideas behind the design choices of the cards. If you want to see another one, let me know down below. If you don't want me to talk about its design choice or anything like that, you just want me to talk about the concept, then again, that'd be that. But I really do appreciate you guys watching. Again, as I said, let me know your thoughts on these cards down below. And I will leave you to it now, and peace.